Live here tonight on the American Sim Network. And also live here on Facebook. We're streaming to two places. Hope everyone's doing well. Getting ready to go racing at Las Vegas for the FEG Truck Series. Should be a great night of racing. Can't wait to go racing here. What do you think, Jacob? What do you expect to see?
And I cannot wait to go racing here as well. Expect to see a lot of racing like we did on Saturday night. These trucks drive a lot like the Cup cars, especially when they get into a draft. So expect a lot of grip, especially since it's at night. And it will be interesting to see how the strategies take place throughout the race tonight.
Yeah, that is for sure. Should be very interesting to see just how these different strategies all will play out. Currently, David Santini, the fastest driver. Matthew Lee, second quick. Brad Bothwell looking very fast as well right now. Hope everyone's doing well. We are again live on both Facebook and YouTube for the first time ever on ASN. So you can watch us on both platforms depending on what you like. So what do you expect to see out of this race here? First time I've ever seen a race here at night on iRacing at Las Vegas. I think that's going to be some great fun.
Yeah, for sure. Like I talked about, it's going to be, the grip is going to be a ton here with these trucks, especially. They drive kind of playing to the ground here at Las Vegas, and watch out for some tire wear, as well as I probably expect to see a couple of cautions early, but we could see one caution and go all the way green till the end too. So it will be interesting to see what these driver strategies are going into this race, and it's just going to be awesome.
Yeah, that it should be. And I accidentally didn't press the go live button on Facebook. Now we're live on Facebook. Welcome everyone to the Facebook stream. Again, you're hearing me talk to two different chats if you're watching on YouTube, because like I said, we're live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook. So first time we're doing this, so do forgive us if we have a few snags in the road as we go tonight, like we just did, because we haven't been live on Facebook the last few minutes, because I didn't see I had to press the go live button. I thought it went live automatically. Figured that one out now. Anyway, so live on Facebook, live on YouTube. It's a night of firsts. First night race at Las Vegas we're watching here on ASN. First double stream we're doing here on ASN. Should be great fun. Should just be some great fun. Braden Johnson, the 08 Traxxas machine, going around on track right now, looking for a good lap. Unfortunately right now, though, and I do say unfortunately, we don't have Discord working. For some reason, my Discord doesn't want to work, and that means at the moment we don't have the ability to do driver interviews, unfortunately. We would talk to some of these drivers, but we'll try and get that worked out as this race wears on. Hopefully we'll get something worked out where we can do some kind of driver interview towards the end of the race. Anyway, cars are gridding up here, and it is a pretty big field. We'll get you through your starting lineup in just a moment. Of course, David Santini on pole. Santini looking for a great run here tonight. I think he'll find one. I think he'll have one. What do you think, Jacob?
Oh, for sure. I think David Santini will do a fantastic job tonight. He'll find a great run. Now, of course, the only difference is, do you have the same pace for a long run as you did for a short run? That's going to be a huge question mark in this race, just due to the fact of, yes, a lot of drivers could be able to qualify, but if you don't have that long run pace, just in case this race does go green for a long period of time, then you could be in trouble, and your truck could struggle at the end of this race.
So here is your starting lineup. David Santini and Matthew Lee on row 1. Row 2, you will be looking for Jay Felton and Adam Baker. Row 3, Of course, Braden Johnson, John Ballou. Row 4, Michael T. and John Hunshell. Row 5, Jerry Glenn, Marty Porter. Row 6, Brent Pryor and Scott Gilsone. Josh Bonwell and Andrew Melvin, row 7. Row 8, Danny Rogers and Kenneth McCulloch Jr. Row 9, Brad Bothwell and Aaron Smith. Row 10, Matthew Correa and Robert Vormwell. David Lindahl and Chris Robertson, row 11. Row 12, Paul Moraine and Ray Jackson. Row 13, Jose Medina and Jason Hunshell. Row 14, Shane Williams, Peyton Howell. Row 15, Jim Westerfield, Jeffrey Radtech in row 15. Row 16, Steve McGaffey and Richard Knott. Row 17, Jay Dargent and Eli Warren. Row 18, Carrie-Ann Church and Marcus Fruchinot. Row 19, Matt Bean and Chad Ross. Row 20, Sean Dorr, James Roth, David McCulloch, and Brandon Bullock round out your field 21 rows deep. Big field, big group of drivers. You know what that means? Big money on the line and big excitement for these racing drivers here tonight. 43 people, 44 people watching on Facebook. How y'all doing here tonight? Hope y'all doing well. Let's hear some comments out there. Hope everyone's doing well. How's the 18 people watching on YouTube doing tonight as well? I hope all of you wonderful people are doing great as well, as we got some amazing drivers getting ready to take us to the green here. And I don't use the word amazing lightly. These are some of the best drivers to ever drive these NASCAR, well, virtual NASCAR Gander Outdoor. And I'm sure there's a word there I'm missing in that Gander Outdoor sponsor. Gander Outdoor Truck Series trucks. I still call them the Camping World Truck Series trucks, but that's just me. Either way, drivers getting ready to go racing. Pace car down. You know what that means, folks? Here's the green flag. We're racing. 100 laps action. So a little bit shorter than what we saw last night, Jacob. What do you expect?
Yeah, well, I expect a lot of drivers to want to get up front quickly, and of course strategy will play out a little different than last night. About 34 laps and 25 lap difference as well. So just very much condensed race. You can go green on one set of tires for about 50 laps on these trucks as well as the cars. So look out for that. Tire wear will be a big issue, even though of course we will have cooler temperatures.
Yes, they go down now into turns 1 and 2. David Santini leads them off of turn number 2. Santini leads Felton, Baker, Ballou, your top 5 as they run currently. Great group of drivers here, and it is some awesome running, I might add.
Exactly, already. Very interesting strategy. Already single file and kind of the lead pack. You can kind of already see that they've got a little bit of a distance, and that's of course key as the rest of them are running 2x2 on the high line and also that low line.
Yeah, without a doubt, and we watch them go down into that corner now. They are almost completely single file. Not too surprising there, in my opinion.
Exactly, you get that extra draft and you get that push off basically. It's just a nice thing of not necessarily having to worry about being aggressive too early. You're single filed out, you're in a good position. Just those drivers, of course, thinking I can calm down for a little while and then push when I need to.
Yeah, that is for sure, as we watch them go down now into that into 3 and 4, off of 3 and 4 now. Ballou with a great run, but again, not getting to that race leader. We already see Robert Vormwald looking, he's got a lot of damage. I don't know what happened to his truck, but you see he's got smoke pouring out the back end of it. Lots of problems for Robert Vormwald there. That might be his night over before it ever really started. We are only 5 laps into this race, mind you. So big problems for that 10 team. Brent Pryor down pit lane as well. Ray Jackson in. Looks like the three of them might have gotten together. No caution, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. No caution, staying green. And we're just going to hit up on lap 7 very soon. You talked about that they're already 1 lap down. It's just going to get worse for them. But, of course, that's an interesting thing about a lot of these racetracks. As long as these drivers wreck on the apron and no cars or trucks are coming around them, then iRacing will not throw the caution. So that's exactly what we assume probably happened.
Yeah, iRacing did exactly what it was supposed to do there. They modified the caution boundaries a few builds ago to not include the aprons as heavily. So assuming those drivers went at it down on the aprons, that is why you did not see a caution for that incident. 8 laps in now, and David Santini starting to try and pull away. Look at Jay Felton making himself try to be a factor. Now, my question to you, Jacob, and we saw this last night in the Xfinity Series, we saw those cars lose their tires towards the end of a run. Do you think we see that here in the truck? Or you think the truck's a little bit better on tire wear?
Well, I think the truck's a little bit better on tire wear for sure. Just cooler temperatures once again is the main to this whole, well, just surviving your tires. But towards the end of the run, of course, any car, any truck will get worse on tire wear. But I do believe, I expect at least to see that these drivers can go a little bit longer without feeling, well, the pain or struggle of lap time slowing down because of tire wear. They can probably go on a tank of fuel before they would really need to change tires tremendously.
Josh Bonwell battling it out with the 95. It looks like the 95 Danny Rogers gonna make that pass. Andrew Melvin looking to capitalize on that as well. This is for 13th place now if he can get by Bonwell. As they go down into turn 3 now, Melvin looking, not quite looking, but kind of window shopping, as I like to call it. He looked in the corner, he thought better of it. He's kind of just, he's sizing up his competition, kind of trying to find where he thinks it might be that he wants to go. And right now, he thinks maybe, hey, best place to be right behind that 56. We're only 11 laps into this race. 90 laps to go. That is a long way here at Las Vegas still.
Exactly. 90 laps to go. Still plenty of racing. And yes, you hit it perfectly. Just stay behind the truck that's in front of you, and you should be perfectly okay with just riding along, because you don't necessarily need to be putting you or your opponent at risk. And the same deal also goes, you're saving fuel, you're saving tires by not really having to push as much as possible, giving yourself an opportunity to, well, push when you need to.
Yeah, that is for sure. And look at even a little further back. You notice one thing interesting towards the front of the field. Well, save for your first 4. These guys starting to spread out a little bit. And you look really far back here. These guys are still tagged up together. Stephen McGaffey, McCullough, Sean Dorr, Richard Knott. And these guys aren't really breaking away. McCullough looking to the inside. Well, he was about a lap ago looking to the inside there on McGaffey. Not happening at the moment, though, as they still go through these corners. Side by side behind them, Jay Dargent, Richard Knott. Dargent on the bottom in that 57. Gets a little bit of a run on the 39. And now the 38, Chad Ross says, hey, I want a piece of this action. This is for about 31st position if he can get to the 57, mind you. Right there, that's for 32nd. Looks like the bottom line tending to be the faster one at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw that even yesterday throughout the early race, or throughout the early parts of the races, is that bottom lane is going to be key. That bottom lane has been key. Yes, on that outside line, it takes time for it to really groove up. We talked about it. It needs to rubber down in order for drivers to get that run on that high line. And of course, no need to do that just yet. So you're seeing the speeds, the times stay consistent because of that bottom line.
Yeah, we saw them get a lot of speed there on that middle line towards the end of the race last night. Now, I wonder if we're going to see the same thing. You figure cooler racetrack with the nighttime atmosphere here at Las Vegas. So I wonder if the track's going to take rubber differently. Of course, the tires are going to wear differently. Of course, it being a completely different vehicle, tires are definitely going to wear differently. So I wonder if that middle line is going to be as much of a factor. I see some rubber already coming in down on that very bottom groove. But, you know, the way I just look at it, I just don't think that it's going to be too big of a factor, that middle groove.
Well, you talk about it not necessarily having to be too big of a factor. I think at the end of this race, or really going towards the end of this race tonight, you'll see that middle lane start to become a factor. And why I say that is because drivers will be wanting to advance their position a lot more than at the start of this race. We're talking about, yes, a 100-lap race. We are close to 80 laps to go almost, and it's just going to go quicker and quicker. And once we get about 20 or 15 to go, then you're going to talk about drivers really wanting to find a way around another driver who's hogging that bottom line. And sometimes, of course, you'll just have to force your truck to try and be better than the other one on the low line. So yes, I think that middle lane will have to come into play just a little. But I get what you're saying here, is in that bottom line will still be the faster groove, but drivers will still try that top groove to make sure that, well, maybe they can side draft and kind of get a run if a truck, remember, on the high line or on that middle line is helping them.
Yeah, and I think the big key when you say drivers are really going to start going for it, you say 15 laps to go, stuff like that. I think 50 laps to go. The halfway mark in a race is always big, and 50 always seems like a good number. 50 laps to go. That just makes things seem tight. Like that's not a lot of time, even though it is with these race cars. 50 laps can be quite a lot of time. But to me, just it seems like less time. And certainly to a driver, say maybe Marty Porter in 7th place. He's got a good truck, that 21 does. He started in 10th. He's gained 2 spots, and he looks like he's looking to Braden Johnson, trying to gain another spot. And then, you know, Josh Ballou potentially. There's 2 more. But when you have a truck like that, that's good, might be good for a top 5. When you see 50 to go, you kind of start thinking, okay, the race is wearing down. Maybe I should start to go. Not 110% yet, but maybe I should start picking up a little bit of the pace. I think that's going to be a key factor here.
Exactly, and also, I think by 50 laps to go, you'll start to see those trucks kind of heading down pit lane, getting fresh tires, and really starting to, well, maybe starting to push for it from then on. Maybe drivers will try and just take it with a one-stop race if, of course, we don't get any cautions. And so that could be a big turning point, just like you said.
Porter gets the pass.
And starting to race.
Porter gets the pass there, and like I said, he's been looking fast. He's going to go on Ballou as well. This would be for 5th position if he gets by him. Now, what's interesting to me, I'm going to take a look way off this battle for a second, but Matthew Lee has been right behind David Santini within a truck length or 2 or 3 this whole race, all 23 laps of it. David Santini, though, has led all 22 laps of it so far. He has not dropped out of the lead. Now, if you mention a potential one-stop race, if these guys are running a full fuel load, which I believe they might be, do you think that we see a one-stop race? Or do you think tire wear will dictate a 2-stop race as Matthew Lee finally making a move on Santini? Here you go. This is the battle for the lead now. I think Lee might have led that lap. Yes, he did. Barely led it.
Yeah, Matthew Lee gets that lead, and now, of course, you're starting to see kind of that middle lane working. Of course, they don't necessarily want to do that too much, but you are, yeah, it will be interesting. Talk about tire wear, and yeah, we could potentially see maybe a 2-stop race instead of that. But it all depends on how the drivers and the trucks feel. Once again, that big thing is how much are the lap times going to fall. That is a key factor into deciding if you want to pit or stay out.
Well, and another key factor is going to be if we see drivers blow out tires. Like I said, we saw that last night. I know the Xfinity car is a lot different than the truck, Camping World truck, Craftsman truck, whatever iteration of the truck you want to refer to it as. But I know the cars are different, but the track's the same. The track surface is the same. And a lot of these drivers that are racing here tonight, you know, you have Josh Bonwell in the field, for example. He raced last night. He saw those guys blow those tires. So you have a potential to have that same thing happen here. So I think that's going to be in the back of the mind of a lot of these guys to say, hey, what if I have that happen to me? And they might be a little bit more cautious of maybe making a one-stop race, or what could be a one-stop race, into a two-stop race.
Yeah, exactly. You always have that now, of course, in your mind of, will my tire explode if I stay out for a lot longer? And once again, all depends on how hard they're driving the truck from basically lap 1 to about when they may decide to go for a two-stop.
Peyton Howell, one of our first pitters. Josh Ballou down as well in the 88. Andrew Melvin hits the box, so I think that might have set off the pit stop. Might have set off our first few stops of the evening. Matthew Lee, the man out front right now, though. David Centini has lost the lead. Now, Centini led the first 22 laps here tonight. So it's not to say that he is a slow race car by any stretch of the means. It looks like he's going to come down pit lane. You never want to be the last one down. You never want to be the first one down. And technically, he's not the first, but he's the first big driver to pit, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. He's the first driver from this front pack, basically, to go ahead and decide to pit. So now, of course, what does Matthew Lee do, basically? He could stay out another lap or a couple more laps. And just as he decides to stay out this lap and just continue to run, because not a lot of drivers are still going into pit.
And you can see Lee staying out for the moment, I believe.
I think what Lee's trying to do right now is he's trying to get more trucks a lap down. That's sometimes a game plan that you could kind of work with, as well as, of course, how's your tires feeling. And it looks like he's coming down now.
Yeah, I heard him backing off of the throttle there, and that's kind of your indicator of, okay, he's getting off the throttle. There he is down pit lane. I think this is a good time for him to pit. Like I said, you don't want to be that last one on pit, last one to pit. Maybe not a good time to pit. There's the yellow flag. Someone somewhere has just had a great strategy, and I think it was Centini. Because Centini exits the pitch right as that caution flies. Looks like the 22 collects the 23 of Jose Medina. Kenyon Church. What happened to him? Tags the outside wall coming down the backstretch. Saves the truck, tags the wall, spins the truck, hits the wall, saves the truck, spins the truck again. I think he had a tire going down, would be my guess. What an unfortunate set of circumstances for that 22 team. David Lindahl inherits the race lead briefly. Speaking of drivers that this is going to help, it's going to help, well, anyone hitting the pitch right now. Because they're going to pit and they're going to come out towards the front. Sean Doerr down pit lane, David Lindahl down pit lane, Jay Dargent down pit lane, Jose Medina with a lot of damage down pit lane, Matthew Lee. Well, he'll actually inherit the race lead out of this, so maybe not the worst thing in the world to happen, to have to pit as the caution comes out.
Exactly. I was thinking right as he came down pit lane, he's going to come back out, and all those trucks that had pitted before him, maybe even a couple or 3 laps before him, will probably decide to come back down pit lane and get 4 fresh sets of Goodyear tires, because at this track we talked about how much it just eats away your tires here.
Yes,
You want to have as fresh tires as possible because you don't want any other truck or driver or have an opportunity to pop your tire. Just really, you don't want anyone to have an advantage over you.
yeah, Santini's actually caught on the wave around group. So that's going to be bad for him. Pretty much 10th on, what was that, 12th, 13th. I'm going to go and say 14th on back. Marty Porter. All those drivers are that wave around group as we're closing in on halfway in this race. This is going to make the fuel strategy for the rest of this night interesting. And you'll notice Matthew Lee elects to stay out. Now, if I was in that lead group right now, I'd say, hey, you know what? Why not pit again? Top her off with race fuel. Maybe not necessarily take tires, as that would take quite a good bit of time. But nothing hurts in just topping her full of race fuel, you know? Get some extra laps out of there.
Yeah, exactly. I get you there. As well as what he could also do is just, well, you talk about doing that. He could also shut the race truck off for a bit and coast around the straightaway, like the back stretch or even the front stretch. I do that a couple of times, and it has worked wonders for me as well. Like, you turn off the engine as well as hold the clutch, and, well, it also works wonders just like that. But yes, I get your point. Getting some more race fuel could never hurt.
Well, if I was a betting man, and in the spirit of Las Vegas, I'll place a bet here. I'd say that's exactly what he's doing, running down on the apron and probably, if not turning the engine off completely, he's at least clutching it. You know he's not running that full speed or full RPMs for his gear through those corners. At least that would be my best guess.
Yeah, I'd probably have to agree with you for sure. Not doing that, indeed. Trying to take the shortest way around these corners always works, especially under caution.
So, with 34 laps in, I think they'll be taking the 1 to go. Or perhaps 2 to go here. Either 1 or 2 to go, and I think that was the 1 to go. As you see those wave trucks going by. So, a little bit more than half the race left. Not too much more. What do you expect to see? You think we go green for a while left still?
Yeah, I think we go green for a good while. We already had a really great first run, and I think I expect it to get better and better. I know other people and other drivers would say cautions breed cautions, and we'll probably get another quick caution, but the way that this group ran, especially after the first green flag drop, I expect to see that exact same thing. Just a single file and wait for your opportunity to really pounce.
Yeah, without a doubt there. 34 laps in. I'll let you get the green here, Jacob.
All right, sounds good. Pace car moments away from dropping down. And there we go, pace car down and away. And we are back racing here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, good start there by Matthew Lee. Out and away, Michael T behind him, Jay Felton, and look at the 0-2, Jake Hunshell trying to get by Braden Johnson. He wants that spot, and he wants it in a bad way. And they go side by side. Look at Hunshell down on the bottom. Johnson runs him down to the apron, and you can be on that apron here at Las Vegas. It's not like Daytona. And that 0-2, he looks a little bit faster than the 0-8. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. He's got the preferred line as well, even though, of course, you would want to kind of diamond the corners each chance you get. But yes, the 0-2 does look a bit fast, but look at the Braden Johnson kind of getting a run on that high line. He'll almost be able to clear him.
He will clear him.
Again, check that actually. Hunchel has the apron.
Yeah, but Braden Johnson managed to clear him there. So that'll force the 0-2 to actually have to make a run back at him. Not to say that he can't, of course. But it'll be interesting. Matthew Lee now will be kind of uncontested for the lead as he's pulling away from that 12 and from the 11. That's interesting to see there. Kenneth McCullough Jr., you know, he was fast at Daytona and was fast last winter's season in the race we covered for GSRC at Phoenix International. McCullough was a pretty fast driver looking to win here tonight, 11th place. Long way to go. What do you think of that 0-3 chance?
0-3, his chances are, well, fantastic. You keep moving up positions. That's always going to be key, as long as you don't necessarily stay in the same place. As, of course, since we're getting closer and closer to that halfway mark, and sooner or later it will be very close to ending this race. As long as you just keep moving up your position, you should be fine. And that's exactly what he's been able to do.
And right now, side by side for position, David Santini next to Marty Porter trying to make his way back to the front. That's going to be the challenge there. And Santini got a great burst of speed, but I think Kenneth McCullough is still a bit quicker than him. And look at the 49, Jason Hunchel down on the bottom of the speedway. 49 truck says he wants that spot. He wants it fast too. Not gonna happen though. Racing Electronics, number 82 truck coming into the picture there. That is Marcus Fruchenot. Looking pretty quick there. Outside lane. Now, we're starting to see that middle line kind of come into the picture now, don't you think?
Exactly, and that's been, well, like I kind of expected that middle lane really to come into play. And the big thing has been, well, just yes, that bottom lane still looks like it is the faster groove, but when you want a position, that's kind of where you'll have to be in a key place to try and pass is kind of pinning your opponent on that apron, especially through that start-finish straight, because you'll have an opportunity to maybe, of course, give them room right after the apron ends, but then, of course, you kind of have taken away their momentum to get into that first corner.
And you see a top 5 on the left of your screen hasn't changed much since the drop of the green. Actually, it stayed in the exact same order. Lee, Thwats, Felton, Johnson, and Hunchel. Still your top 5 as they run. Not separated by too much, though.
Exactly, that top 5 is very close to each other. But of course, the big thing would be Hunchel versus none other than Braden Johnson. Still very close to each other. Yes, it is a little bit bigger of a gap, but you're talking about, yes, they are single file at the moment. And, well, if you're talking about being inside that top 5, that's exactly where you want to be this early.
Yeah, those two drivers getting spread out just a little bit, about a truck length between the two there was in the turn 1, and then still about that truck length. The drivers that aren't spread out are the leaders. They are definitely closer together now as we near halfway in this race, 56. You can count that on, well, you'd need a lot of fingers for that, but you could count that. 56 laps to go. And it is some amazing racing right now. So, Jacob, in the spirit of betting in Las Vegas, who would be your pick to win this race as we watch this fantastic battle for 10th place?
My big pick to win this race, I think, would have to go with Hunchel. I think he's in that perfect position, still in the top 5, Yes, he is a little far from the leader at the moment, but like I said, finds himself sitting in a perfect position just in case another caution comes. And also, of course, for most likely a 2 to 3 stop race here, he can basically be able to strategize well and end up getting into the lead, kind of pulling a Matthew Lee, because if you do recall, Matthew Lee has so far had that perfect strategy call, but I think that Hunchel can put himself in that position and get himself a victory.
Yeah, as we watch Marcus get 9th place, I gotta tell you, I think I might want to pick that 82 truck to win this race. He is coming up fast, and when you look at him, he started all the way back in 36th place, up to 9th, and we're only halfway through this race, not even, only a few laps from halfway, though. I got to go with Marcus here. I think he's got a good racing electronics Chevy Silverado. I think we might just see it go to victory lane.
Pretty good pick as well. Fruitnik in a great position, top 10 really. That top 10 group really has an opportunity to, well, kind of get up front as well. Get this pack a lot tighter. And what I mean by that is, of course, just single filing out, waiting for your right time, and really just working together, because I think that's what we will most likely see throughout this race until the end of it.
Yeah, that is for sure. You look at the top 3 left of your screen as we watch the battle for 10th. Marty Porter edging out Kenneth there. Not by much, crosses him over and starts to try and pull away. Wonderful racing, though, all around. You can even go all the way to the back of the field here around McGaffey. Look at Chris Robertson, Matt Bean, and Jim Westerfield. They're all racing pretty close together. So it's some pretty great racing here. Look at that Tide machine. Was a 921 Shane Williams. Getting around the lap down 4 truck Ray Jackson. He is unfortunately 12 laps down after his incident early on in the race, just out there making laps for points at the moment. Remember, this does follow the real NASCAR schedule, so we run all the way into November this year. So points are critical. So why not run around and get some extra points if he can, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Points will be so critical. Of course, no stage points really awarded, but that big thing is just making sure that you can get every position possible. If you have to get a couple of top 5s at the start of the season, then do so, because of course after this West Coast swing, well, technically we end this West Coast swing with a short track and then going to Atlanta, a fantastic track for these trucks. And so you're just going back to another 1.5 mile racetrack after, of course, a couple of weeks. And it's just going to be a lot of these same exact racetracks, so you will really have to find your groove. But getting every single position here early in this start of the season is going to be very crucial indeed.
Yeah, and now I know iRacing doesn't have the ability for it, unfortunately, but I would love to see an Atlanta night race. I know in the real world they had that for a little bit, and it was always great racing to watch, and I would just love to see that come to iRacing at some point, nighttime Atlanta.
Exactly. A very strange thing that I guess they got Atlanta before they introduced lights at that track, so that's probably exactly the reason why. Yes, night racing at Atlanta is very fun, as well as just basically that sunset racing at Atlanta is a blast to watch indeed. I think that last year when they ran it, and on iRacing they had practice in the evening, and I remember taking a couple of pictures of my Toyota Tundra truck on there, and it just looked absolutely gorgeous. So yes, looking forward to that weekend indeed, and it should be a great weekend for these drivers as well.
Yeah, and you know, I was about to say, I kind of have to correct myself. Because technically you can race Atlanta at night, you just have no lights. And kind of important to have lights for these trucks where you don't have their own headlights.
Yeah, exactly. Different story for every other road car basically on iRacing, but for these trucks, yes, you will need light to shine on a racetrack.
Yeah, you just got to bring the GT3 cars out that weekend. Right now watching Peyton Howell in 18th place, Jim Westerfield trying to catch up to him, Matt Bean in 21st, Chris Robertson, Chris Robertson, and then the 921, or the 521, I'm sorry, getting by. Shane Williams is the first truck, or one of the first to lap down, but he does look a little bit faster than Chris Robertson. Just a little bit interesting thing of note. Looks like Matt Bean hits the pits, so this is our next round of pit stops we're watching. James Roth in the 27 Rockwell machine, 2 laps down, but nonetheless competing with the 77 truck. So when do you think we see our leaders pit? As we see Adam Baker hit the pits, but when do you think we see our main group pit?
Your main group hit around, well, last time they pitted around, well, just about 3, maybe 5 laps after the group before them pitted, that are now closer to a lap down, or will just about be. Probably the same thing. We'll probably see them pit around 5 laps and see where that strategy can hold. Maybe some drivers will wait to see if they can get another caution flag as well. Maybe that will be a Jeffrey Glenn or a Marty Porter just trying to wait for that caution flag and run their tires as well. Run their trucks as best as possible, not trying to, of course, waste any grip on their tires. But that will just be for some strategy, for sure. But yes, most likely I'll say about 5 laps after these drivers in the midfield pit.
And you can see Matthew Lee has the lead. Santini up to 5th as the second place truck makes the move to pit. So I think that might inspire our leaders to hit the pits. And that's going to be the question, though. How long does Lee stay out? Kind of maybe waiting for another caution like he got last time. I think that's going to be the interesting if we do get another yellow.
Exactly, as Jake Hunchill came down pit lane. So that will answer my question. That's kind of the first leader right here coming down pit lane.
Well, I'd say the second. We saw a second place pit about a lap ago. That just leaves Matthew Lee. And you hear him still standing on it. And we've got about, what, 38 laps to go?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
The question is he trying to stretch it to make it this be his last pit stop, barring no caution, of course?
Yeah, exactly. That could be a huge, not a huge gamble, but it could be a huge strategy call here, just waiting to see if that could be his last stop. And once again, I've said this a lot, but it's so true. Making sure that you're not losing too much time going around the racetrack, so that, of course, your final pit stop, to be exact, won't be too much of a big blow to your race.
And we watch Matthew Lee hit the pitch right there. That puts Kenneth McCullough in the race lead. First time tonight that Budweiser machine has gone to the lead. Not to say, of course, that he won't lead more towards the end of the race here. Like I said, I think he's on track to potentially win this race as he hits the pits now. No caution this cycle looks like, so that's pretty lucky for these drivers. I'm sure a lot of drivers were happy about that. Kenneth McCullough Jr. hits the pits. The 12 truck, I think, made a good pit call because I think he's going to inherit the race lead. He's made his second pit stop of the night so far. And let's see. Yes, he does. So how about that? So Michael Thratch, your current race leader. Adam Baker, second. Matthew Lee. Now, here's why I say you never want to wait and be one of the last ones to pit. Look where he came out. He came out third. Not too far back, but he lost 2 spots on that pit cycle. Think about that. That's quite a lot there, ain't it?
Yeah, exactly. For a leader to lose a couple of positions, yes, it is a lot of time that he lost. Because you just take away, of course, both those drivers basically that were in front of him. From the time that he was in that race lead with how many seconds he had to the time, and that now, of course, he's in third place. A huge, well, not a huge blow, but just something that now he'll have to race a little bit harder than he probably wanted to.
And side by side here, this is with a lap truck, mind you, not for position. I tell you, this plays right into the hands of your current race leaders, provided no caution. Now, the saving grace here could be that Lee is on this being his last pit stop strategy, though I don't think it will be. What do you think?
I don't think it will be as well. If a lot of other trucks are still going to end up taking that last pit stop, there's no reason for Lee to try and stay out and just stretch it. Like I've said before, just will lose too much time. We saw it on this pit cycle. He'll probably try and be now one of the first trucks down pit lane. It will kind of throw off his whole strategy, but now he kind of has to play that undercut.
And right here, you see Marcus Fruchinot in the 82. He's gotten up to 6th, and he's right in line with Jay Felton, Hunchell, and Lee. This could play into the hands of Marcus here for a potential race win. Remember, I picked him to potentially go all the way. And this could be big for him here as he gets by that lap truck. Just a matter of how you think it all plays out. Well, here's the multi-million-dollar question I'm sure is on everyone's mind. Do you think we see another caution?
It's possible that we will see another caution. Maybe just one more caution for sure. Why I say that, getting later into the race, drivers will try to be pushing. We've already seen maybe a couple of cut tires. Why drivers started to come into pit kind of early. So a big thing would be we're just trying to keep that from happening. So it might be possible that we will see one last caution closer to the end of this race. My guess would have to be about 15 to go.
And right now, 71 laps in. Matthew Lee falling back, actually. That last pit stop might have done him in as he falls to 6th now. And you can see back there in 6th place now, he was leading before the stop. You think he's had something gone wrong, or you think he's just reserving his truck potentially?
I think more reserving this truck than anything, just due to the fact of, well, he doesn't want to push it. There is a chance that he could make it to the end of the race and try out that strategy before he goes and tries to dive down pit lane really late. So he could be going for broke at the moment and just waiting for that opportunity, about 10 or even 5 to go, to really start to push.
And right now, going down through turns 3 and 4. Well, I want to hear from everyone watching on both platforms, Facebook and YouTube. Who are your guys' pick? We got a lot of viewers out there. 14 on YouTube right now, 35 on Facebook. So again, I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for joining the party here tonight. But, you know, who's everyone's pick? Let's hear them. We'll focus on their trucks for a little bit. And let's focus on this battle. Andrew Melvin getting by the 51. Again, lap down. Multiple lap, well, only one lap down the edge, Jeffrey Redtake. Or Radtech, rather, I'm sorry. In the 51. Stephen McGaffey, 27th. And Aaron Smith now getting by him. They are 10th and 11th. And there might have been contact between those two trucks there. I don't know if you caught that, Jacob, but I think I saw those two touch.
Yeah, those two might have touched for sure. Wasn't able to catch it just there, but you're talking about just great battling so far. Both of these trucks, well, we talked about it. They want every single position possible. These points are going to matter so much come November, come, of course, September, or even before that of June, or really when the season starts to be affected by how little or how much the races will just mean. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this battle pursues, if they're going to race each other different from that contact.
Yeah, and you know, I want to talk about paint schemes for a moment. We're looking at Aaron Smith right now in that 70. I really like his paint scheme. It reminds me of a dirt car. The way he's got his numbers set up. Two on the door, and then the one on the deck lid. And it's some pretty good racing. And we have a vote in for race winner, the 35 truck. Well, let's take a look at driver number 35. He's probably got to find the driver 35, Jim Westerfield. A little bit ways back, 30th position, but hey, we still have 22 laps to go. Still the potential for a caution. Not saying it can't happen. A lot can still happen for that 35 team here. Westerfield, he started 29th, so he's right around where he started. Shane Williams, I think, pitted. The problem for Jim right now, he needs to get a lap back, as it looks like drivers are underway on their final pit stops, with about 21 laps to go. Yeah, there are drivers making their final pit stops. So, Jim Westerfield, I think, might have a chance to win this if we get a caution. What do you think, Jacob?
With the caution, especially for him, that will be key. Now, of course, it doesn't look like he is the first car a lap down, so we'll have to get it the hard way from iRacing, which is, well, a wave route. And what that means is every driver would have to, on the lead lap, would have to pit before they could get, for any lapped cars besides, of course, the Lucky Dog would get their wave around and their lap back. So it would be interesting with being on more worn tires than the rest of the field. So maybe a couple more cautions and we'd probably see him in victory lane. It will be a long stretch, but of course, it's not done and dusted just yet. He still has a good opportunity to win.
Yeah, Josh Bonwell hitting the pitch right now. Now, remember, he's not the first truck a lap down because, well, partially because of the pit stops as well. So I think once the pit stops cycle through, that'll tell you quite a lot. Again, I think with a caution, anything can happen. 18 laps to go. It is going to be crucial to see when our leaders pit, as I think Matthew Lee is down pit lane. Or no, he is back in 8th. So he might be trying to be ultra conservative there.
'82 down pit lane now, Marcus Fruitnick. So he'll be getting service for his final time tonight.
Yeah, watching Lee, though, trying to see kind of what he wants to do. Jay Felton, of course, inheriting the race lead. I don't hear him coming off that throttle. He'll go by pit lane. David Santini back to the front of the field. He has not led since lap 22. So he has had some issues here tonight. But he is climbing back. Remember, his big problem, it came after the first pit stop when you had a caution. He got caught with that wave around group. Hasn't really been able to recover from that. You see Richard not back there. Last car on the lead lap in 10th right now. But, you know, Santini finally able to kind of bounce back from that. I think he's going to have to pit soon, though. It's going to be his downfall.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just talk about bad luck. Caution comes out right after you get the pit stop, and talk about the leader, well, lapping you as well, getting caught up with that wave around group. It just takes so much. These trucks, and throughout the weekend, we also saw this. Every single truck or car this weekend has worked better in clean air. And so you talk about being stuck behind traffic and getting, well, just not lapping the way that you would like to has, well, been different. It's been dividend for him to try and get back to the lead, or trying to even get back to this top 5 group. That's really been that difference maker. But talk about this. Still plenty of time left for another caution. Remember, we still can go green, white, checker.
Yeah, that is for sure, but only 13 laps to go. Do you think we see that caution, or something like last night where we kind of went green to the end on that final run?
I think it is very possible that we do see one more caution. Like I said, I think this time, instead of 15 to go, I'd say we probably see it about 3 to go, where we would end up getting a green, white, checkered finish. Just one more caution, basically. And drivers like David Santini would be right there to have an opportunity for this race win.
Yeah, and right now, Santini there, 3rd place, looks to the inside. Will he get it? Side by side, door to door. Now quarter panel, and clear. So Santini up to 2nd. Now what's interesting, they have not had to pit yet. They are running time down. If they're going to have to pit, they're going to want to do it in the next lap or so. I wouldn't want to have to pit with single-digit laps left.
Exactly. He could be a driver that we could see try and make it all the way to the end. He's got plenty of fuel remaining, most likely. And also, the big thing is, how bad has he raced with his tires? If he has not abused them, especially on that high line, then he should be fine to make it to the end, and maybe even have some more pace, some more juice to be exact, to try and catch Jay Felton. Remember, Jay Felton, if I'm not mistaken, has not pitted either, so that's a big thing too. Both drivers in 1st and 2nd place, if I'm not mistaken, have not pitted.
Yeah, they have not. Well, yeah, they haven't. That is correct. Well, anyone back of 8th hasn't, because, or anyone up of 9th place, I should say. So 1st through 8th hasn't, because you'll notice they're all still on the lead lap. So 9th on back has pitted because they are all a lap down. Jay Felton might be on track to win this race. Keyword there, might be on track to win this race, but it looks like he might have to come to the pits.
Exactly. David Santini goes to the pits with none other than the 08 car of Braden Johnson.
Yep,
so
Felton's down.
Big turn of events.
Kenneth McCullough Jr., let's see, does he stay out? Does he have enough in the tank? Looks like, yeah, he'll stay out at least one more lap. And mind you, I don't think he's pitted. I'll take a look and see. No, he pitted on lap 64. So he has pitted. Or rather, actually, yeah, that was the second round of pit stops, perhaps. But no, he pitted around lap 64 was his last pit stop. So McCullough, does he have enough in the tank to go to victory lane? We mentioned him earlier that he might have a potential to win this race. He's one of the first, yeah, he was one of the first drivers recent to pit. Santini gets around him. 6 laps to go, though. Closest competitor, 11 seconds back. That is Jay Dargent, Adam Baker, Michael Thwatz, and then the 82, Marcus. 5 more times around. Who do you think takes it now, Jacob?
I think it will be the leader, Kenneth McCullough Jr., to take this race now. He is in control of it. I think he's got enough in his tank.
No, he does not. Down pit lane, how about that?
How about that indeed?
With 5 laps to go.
Seems like every single driver that I've kind of chosen or have predicted has decided to go down pit lane right as I choose. So,
well,
talk about that.
I think he must have been waiting on a caution. That must have been it. He must have been praying for a caution there. I think Jay Dargent's out of gas. Yes, he is. So the 57 has ran out of fuel, as you see the way he wiggled that truck. And now he's going to have to limp it into his box. Yeah, look, he's got no fuel left in that thing. RPM's dropping. Not a good place to be in, don't you think?
Exactly. Not
Adam
a great
Baker,
place
your
to be
new
in as
leader.
well, but you're talking about it. You have to gamble at Las Vegas to try and, well, just make it to the end. That was a big thing. And look at who's in the lead now. Adam Baker, the number 48 truck.
He's only led 2 laps, counting this lap right here.
Exactly. Has almost come from nowhere, basically, to just lead this race and to be in control of it.
And so far, mind you, only 2 cautions, or 1 caution here tonight for 2 laps. 9 lead changes, though. So this has been an exciting race, and aside from that 1 early caution, it has been completely green. 2 more times around for Adam Baker. I tell you what, Jacob, I could not have predicted this. Does Adam Baker have enough in the tank?
Very possible he also does not, but it's looking good for him so far. The lead seems like it has also grown too, and that's a big thing. Because remember, he came around the start-finish straight on the last lap with about a second lead. Now it's half that.
And right now, as they go, final lap of the race, Adam Baker, half a second lead. He might be out of fuel. He's probably trying to save any last piece of it he can through 3 and 4 for the last time. This is going to be a close one. Off of turn number 4. Does he have enough to win it? Yes, he does. Adam Baker goes to victory lane. Michael Thwatz, Marcus Fruchenot, Aaron Smith 4th. Good run for Aaron Smith. How about that? Jake Hunshell, Marty Porter, Jay Felton, Braden Johnson, Aaron Smith 5th, Marty Porter 6th. Felton Johnson, Santini Carrera, Ross Hunshell, Westerfield, Bothwell, Rogers, Eli Warren, Matt Bean, Kenneth McCullough Jr., Peyton Howell, David Lindahl, Chris Robertson, Andrew Melvin, Josh Bonwell, Richard Knott, David McCullough, Jeffrey Radtech, Jerry Glenn, Shane Williams, Stephen McGaffey, Brandon Bullock, James Roth, Jay Dargent, Matthew Lee, Ray Jackson, Jose Medina, John Ballou, Paul Monrain, Scott Glazzeau, Sean Dorr, Carrion Church, Brent Pryor, and Robert Vormworld rounds out your field. Man of the hour, Adam Baker, and we'll try and do an interview with him. No promises, though, but we'll try and make something happen with him. As we have been having issues with Discord all night, but... So, hopefully, Adam Baker, can you hear me? And more importantly, can the chat hear you?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Alright, so I'm hoping the chat can hear you. The way I'm doing this for the people on YouTube, I've basically got my laptop hooked up to Discord and the microphone right next to my laptop speaker. So if you're wondering why the audio sounds a bit weird, that would be why. Hopefully you can hear Adam. But Adam, great job on the race win, first and foremost. How did the car handle, or truck?
The truck was really good tonight. I wasn't so quick on the short runs, but tried to keep the tire underneath it throughout the race. And pulled a little strategy there at the end to leapfrog those guys and get the...
Now, were you expecting the lead drivers to run out of fuel there?
Yeah, they were going to be about 10 laps short at the start of that run. I knew Matthew could probably save some fuel, and he would just have to go so slow to save 10 laps worth. And, I figured I'd cut it short, kind of split the last run a little bit shorter on the front end of things, and just take fuel in 2 tires to try and keep some grip in the truck, and just try and maintain as much speed as possible. And they were coming with 4 behind me, but they didn't get there in time.
All right, well, anyone you want to thank, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank you guys in the booth at American Sim Network up there. Thanks for putting this on for us to go watch. I'd like to thank FEG PC for putting on this league and these races. It's a heck of a time out here. This was a fantastic race on all accounts. So I'd like to thank those guys, BZ Design, who's on the car, and my team, V-Speed.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us, man. Great job on the race win once again. We'll let you get back down with your team.
All right, thank you.
All right, next up on the interview block, it will be Michael Thwatz if he is present, although unfortunately I don't see him in the team speak, so we will go to third place finisher Marcus, and I'm going to let you say your last name so I don't butcher it again, but can you help me with the pronunciation there?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's just Fricktenig, like Fricktenig. We just made it a little more easy compared to the way the Germans actually say it.
10-4, so Fricktenig.
Yeah, Fricktenig, yep.
All right, well, great job on the third place finish. I had you picked to win this race. You came up third, though, but I mean, great run. What were you expecting coming into this race?
Well, I didn't qualify at the beginning. I want to start in the back. I was kind of wondering how these trucks would play out this race with so many cars. I mean, we're all pretty even, so I figured there might be a few wrecks. So I figured I'll start in the back. I'll bide my time. But we actually had a lot of green flag racing, and I was pretty happy with how I ran my race. I tried to take 2 at the end, try to get some track position, but I could only get my way back to third. I was keeping up with the guy in front of me who took 4, but hey, third place, I'm pretty happy with it.
All right, well, any sponsors you want to thank?
I don't have any sponsors. I just like to thank my paints guy, Ryan Blanchers with RB Designs. Helps me out with my paint schemes and stuff like that. But other than that, just like to thank FEG for the league and you guys for broadcasting.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us, man. Great job on the third place finish. We'll see you next week. And from all of us at the American Sim Network, we hope you enjoyed tonight's race. We hope you enjoyed watching both on YouTube and on Facebook. And we'll see y'all in the next one. Have a great one, everybody.